wow, this is the work though that will produce the desired end result. It's being able to climb in the trenches now when it's not convenient, it's not comfortable, when the kitchen isn't very beautiful yet. You have to be a problem solver. You have to be able to troubleshoot. Because at the end of the day, it's your responsibility to stay on target with your goal. Your goal, your dreams.
Records from the universe, Night of the Champions, Olympia, and the pro world. And with those records, I just keep on improving. I keep on knowing more and more, and I keep on knowing my body to a T. But you always can learn more. I have such a positive outlook that I would win, that when I do go on stage, the judges can see this aura, around me, that I do really want to win. And I have this, I just look, there's the winner because of that positive look that I do have.
The journey, you know what I mean? You got where you at, you got where you trying to be. And then you got all this shit in between that's not gonna matter when you get it. You know what I mean? So I feel like
you're here now. Be purposeful when you are here. Be attentive. Be yourself. In this podcast, I give you life concepts, business concepts, improvement concepts, simplified, they're implementable and actionable. I am here to disseminate and give you the tools of life. I'm passionate about self-improvement. I'm passionate about success. I'm passionate about decoding what works and allowing you to see it for yourself so you could think for yourself. I'm passionate about thinking better, acting better, and living better. This podcast isn't for the weak. It isn't for the conformists. It isn't for the conventional. We are comfort killers. We get busy at creating life and loving it. We get busy at working on ourselves and asking more from ourselves. We get busy at creating life. Let's create this life, baby. I am Stacy A. Cross. There's no E in it. And thank you so much for tuning in. That was a long ass intro, but it is so needed. I made 2 parts of that, right? So later on in the future, when it gets so long and I'm trying to do like 10 to 15 minute shows, I could cut it in half only to bring you my voice. But I love that intro. How about it? Word of the day is dilettante. So let's go right ahead and define that word. I'm going to tell you what the new show is going to be about throughout the show, so we don't have to spend time. We could just get right in it. So dilettante, I was talking to Theo yesterday over the phone, and I said, the number one reason that we are confused or we're stuck or we don't know, and I'm saying this from my personal experience, not from yours, is that we are dilettantes. If you don't know what that word is, well, welcome to the Stacy A. Cross Show, where we actually look shit up because maybe you don't know, okay? And I didn't know. I overheard it. I was reading a briefing and long ass 500-page thing, and in it was, we need to stop being a dilettante because it doesn't get us anywhere. Right? And I was like, what the hell is a dilettante? So I looked it up and I wanted to give that to you today. It means dilettantes. You could be a dilettante. Okay. It means an admirer or lover of the fine arts. But that's just one definition, and I'm not going by that. What was meant is, number 2, a dabbler, a trifler, one who pursues an art and only for amusement, sometimes applied contemptuously to one who affects a taste for or a degree of acquaintance with or a skill in art which he does not possess. So there's a lot of dilettantes running around here, claiming to know A, claiming to know B, claiming to know C, but have not put in the work in anything. So I just wanted to say that that's the word for today, and make sure you are not a dilettante. Make sure you're actually gaining skill, experience, and knowledge in the thing that you actually love. Be it working out, okay? And getting your fitness together. Don't just get your fitness together and stay on the surface of that. Explore it, learn it. Get a nutrition book, read it as if you're going to nutrition school, as you're going to be a fitness trainer. Get that information in so that you're able to understand how the body works. What are the moving parts in your body? What's the endocrine system, right? And some people will be like, "Bah, that's too much information." But if you're really going to go 100% in fitness, and then most of all, for those that are personal trainers, if they don't know this stuff, then why are they teaching you how to lose weight and feel great and get good and get built and get shredded, get cut, get whatever? It's because people stay on the surface, right? They take maybe one course online where it says how to be a personal trainer in a weekend, and then they think that they have enough tools or knowledge to be able to disseminate that to other people. And you left getting someone's information or own idea or concept about this thing that you're exploring, whether it be, let's say, marketing, right? And this is where I applied it, and I was like, whoa, I don't know shit. And we all don't know shit, right? We think that just because someone says, hey, do this multiple times and get a desired outcome, is that fact? Is that fact? Or, are there some data that's missing in that statement, right? So I looked at marketing from a standpoint of what have been done throughout the time periods and really studying it to get a skill in it so I could use it as a weapon, okay? So I could use it, my secret weapon, because I know. See, there's a difference between thinking, knowing, being, or there's a difference between not knowing and knowing. And most of the times we think we know. So the term that everyone hears, especially in self-improvement and building yourself and building your business, is fake it till you make it. And I don't believe it 1 second. I did subscribe to that a few years ago. A couple years ago, I subscribed to that. Fake it till I make it. Okay? Fake what till you make what? That is the question. I don't want my doctor faking it till he makes it or she makes it. I don't want my dentist faking it till they make it. I don't want anyone that has any kind of profession. I don't want my lawyer, my attorney faking it till he makes it. Okay? I don't even want the person in the kitchen cooking up some steak faking it till they make it. I want them to know what they're doing, know how they're doing it, know the variations of things that could go wrong, and that's what I'm saying. A dilettante stays on the surface. They're a dabbler in things. When I got into hip hop years ago, okay, I got into hip hop and I was on this chat, AOL. You remember AOL? You've got mail. So I got on this chat. And I was really digging the Puff Daddy song, We'll Always Love Big Papa, or Miss Big Papa, so it was like 98, 97. And I jump on AOL and I was like, man, this is great. And this other Puff Daddy song is great. And that's the one where he used some sample. And I didn't even know the sample he used or where it came from. And somebody rigged me. You can't go in these hip hop groups online chat, man. Those things were ruthless. You think Instagram is ruthless or Twitter is ruthless? Yo, back in the day, AOL was ruthless. If you didn't know your shit, these guys from who knows where they are is going to tell you about it real time. So they said, you don't know anything about hip hop. And meanwhile, I'm like, yo, I'm a hip hop head. I'm starting to write my own music. They was like, you don't know nothing. Puff Daddy just, and it opened my mind a little bit. I'm over here giddy and shit, like a little girl, just heard a song and was like, yeah, I love it. This is dope. And they schooled me in it. And that made me look back at what was, so I could have a frame of reference and another viewpoint. See, when someone gives you another viewpoint, you don't just say, okay, well, my viewpoint is the best viewpoint. You take a look at that, you examine it, you explore it and see on the other side, where are people coming from, okay? So that enabled me to really get into the base of hip hop, the understanding, the framework of it, beats, okay, samples. Where did this come from? How do you create? Okay, who left this? Who started it? Okay, what were these albums portraying? What was happening? It blew my mind just from coming in with my one frame of mind, and then actually getting schooled on it. So it's okay to get to see other people's opinion and catch their viewpoints. You gotta be able to see what can I take and what can I throw away? Not everybody's viewpoint you're just going to take and run and try to go explore it. Shit takes years sometimes to really get your research in and understand it from another framework and see which one you're going to take and move on and move forward with. But the faking it till you make it has got to stop. And that is what's happening on the internet. So what have I been up to? Well, man, I've been in the gym a little. But I have not been online. And it was so funny because I went to a baby shower. I went to my nephew's baby shower, Aaron, and I had to go to Jersey. So I saw some family members. And the first thing, I mean, literally like 4 or 5 of them, where you been, Stace? I haven't seen you on Facebook. That's exactly what they said. And this is family. Like, I could get it from you who don't know me, who just knows a handle online. But for my family saying, hey, listen, Stace, I haven't seen you. When you could pick up the phone and say, hey, Stace, what's up? Or shoot a text or whatever. We're face to face now. But that is it. Our life is super dependent on what we're doing online. And that I had to draw back and understand, okay, let me see the framework of this. So no, I have not been on Facebook. No, I have not been on Twitter. No, I have not been on Instagram. And those what I've gained from not being there is understanding and building skill and awareness and getting this thing really on the moving, and stop faking it till you make it, basically. Okay, so if you're on there, that's great. If you haven't seen me on there, that's great. That doesn't mean, hey, listen, Stacy's dead or something, but you could check on me. But what I have been doing is really understanding things that I don't want to do any longer and things that I want to continue doing. And one thing is that I love creating. I just love creating things, content. I really do. Getting into real estate though, it required so much of my time that I was like, man, I curse real estate. Like, being a real estate agent, I curse it so much. I really do. And that's how I know I don't want to be in that space. Even though I got my real estate license to supplement me leaving my job. This is now a year and some change now, leaving my job and really learning more about life and what it is. So I created a concept called DIRT. Okay, DIRT. And a lot of people, and I know that you've been through it. You've been through ups, you've been through downs, you've been through troughs, you've been through feasts, you've been through famine, you've been through, fruits, bearing fruits, harvesting time. You've been through lows, you've been through highs. It's there. It's life. It's this thing that it's supposed to have an opposing force against your will to see and to understand how strong you need to be. Right? And if you let it break you, you'll be broken for a long time. And I don't want you to get broken. Okay. So that's why I decided, hey, listen, for me to really help people, I have to show people what the dirt is. Not only that, I have to help myself by helping more people. If you understand what that means. The only way to learn is to teach, and the only way to receive is to share. Write that down. The only way to learn is to teach, and the only way to receive is to share. And I got that from a wisdom. And I want to give you some a piece here. Let me see if I could pull it up, because I was going to do this whole content piece on Balthazar Gracian, okay? 15th century. Let me see. Let me just want to make sure. Yes, 1647, he wrote a book, which is a collection of 300 maxims, and it's called The Art of Worldly Wisdom. And I was going to make this entire series. It's about 360 of them. And these things were like, you understand that human nature does not change, right? Because you're reading these things and you're like, wow, this thing still applies. Some you could throw out because there's social changes, right? That it just really you can't put it anywhere. But the majority, I would say about 95% of these maxims still apply. So I wanted to make this entire course of all these maxims. But I decided, man, what would be so iller, what would be better is if I throw it in this podcast on a daily basis or every time I publish a podcast, so you could get one of them and we could actually dissect it. So the book was written in 1647. It is in the public domain, so you could find it, okay? Here's a little tidbit, gold mine, gold dust, pick up the gold nugget, diamond, gem, ruby for you, so you know this. If you ever need to create content, right? These are for my people out there that wants to do this content thing that's building a business or whatever. And we're going to get into a lot of business aspects, but everything in the public domain could be re-released and republished with your name on it. That's a quick way to get some content, right? So if you wanted to, let's say, write a book, but you have you don't even know where to start, go in the public domain, find books that have already been written. There's tons of them. And then comment on these books and you could release it. So literally, I could write a book with Balthazar Gracian from 1647, Balthazar Gracian and The Art of Worldly Wisdom, commented by Stacy A. Cross, there's no E in it, and put it up and sell it. Did you know that? Okay, so now you do. And that's the type of things that I want to give you in these podcast series. I changed the entire dynamic of what I want to offer the community. It no longer is the stupid, well, it's not stupid. Let me not say that. Okay, I take that back. Okay, it's not the stereotypical pump you up motivation. I left that a long time ago. Okay, I'm not the same Stacy A. Cross. I am wiser. I am better. I assess things a little differently. Skills have gotten a little better. Okay, I'm still improving, and there's more progress to go. But I'm not going to give you the same thing that everyone is giving you. I found the space a little crowded and a little actually conventional. We talk about we don't want to go inside conventional wisdom, and we don't want that anymore. And I feel that it had became a fad for people to just, I'm going to pump you up and to give you motivation. And it's just like, there's no substance about that. There's just quotes and shit. And I want to be able to take a step back and give you the substance that one needs. People give a lot of data. There's so much data out there. Billions of things that you could read, millions of things that you could watch, if not billions. But then you're caught left at the end like, how the fuck do you go from A to B? Still, with all the data that's out there, a lot of courses, a lot of people doing it, much respect to them. But we wanted to take a different approach with the Comfort Killers. And it really took me this time to understand that I need to do it, because I didn't really sit right in my gut following the same type A shit that I see, because I'm definitely the type of person that stands left of center. Okay, so Robert Ringer, I was reading his book. He wrote to be or not to be intimidated. And he wrote Looking Out for Number One. He wrote Nothing Moves Until Something Happens. He wrote like 4 or 5 books. But the one that I really love, of course, is To Be or Not to Be Intimidated and Looking Out for Number One. And I get the gist in his books that he's a very conservative. What is the result of this action? People aren't going to run all over me. I better smarten up, better tighten up my processes, and reality is what matters. I get that from him. He's a big push on reality. And if you understand what's going on now, is that there's a lot of things that pulls you away from reality, because speaking of which, when I went to the baby shower, right? What was reality? The reality was I was right there, right now, standing in front of them. And the first thing that they said was, I miss you on Facebook. You're not on Facebook. So they pulled me out of reality right there to put me into something else. They put me in cyberspace right there when I was right in front of them. They could touch me, smell me, feel me right in front of them. And that's what I think a lot of things are right now. It's like, let's pull this person so much out of reality that they can't handle things that are going on in their real space. face, okay, in real time, okay? So that's what a part of me when reading Robert Ringer, I was like, oh shit, I was pulled out. I was pulled out for a while because the number one thing, okay, don't have a plan. How many of you guys are running a business with no plan? How many of you guys are starting a business and forgetting the plan? How many of you guys want to build up your wealth or get into a new career or, dealing with different things? You want to buy a house or, you want to move across country with no plan, okay? Everything runs on a plan. And we've been taught for this time period where it's okay to just not have a plan. It's okay. It's actually better to not have a plan. And I followed that no plan zone for a while until I realized, oh shit, like my reality is failing. Like this thing is succeeding. Like this augmented thing is succeeding, but this reality basis is I wasn't planning for this. Shit, things are really happening out here. So Robert Ringer, whose book I was currently reading and whose blog I frequent mentioned about Tazar, especially when he speaks about real life wisdom and truth, Robert Ringer stated, this is Robert Ringer said, I could write a book, a very long book, about what I've learned about copywriting, deal making, and negotiating from the great philosophers, not to mention what they've taught me about life in general. However, until I do, I would suggest that if you've thus far missed out on the treasure chest of wisdom offered by these remarkable sages, you start investing their works today. So that taught me like, okay, yeah, there's a lot of things about life that have been predestined. It's almost like human nature has not changed. Everything else changed. Human nature kind of stood on a flat line, and we could kind of predict certain things. So philosophers, aka truth seekers, whose prime goal is to make sense out of life and simplify concepts into daily living. And that's what the Comfort Killers is about at this point. It's about taking these whole life concept, these big things, and break them down into concepts, into daily living, actionable, implementable. These are things that we need to know, or we need to do, or we need to understand before we move about it. So you could learn by someone else's failures or successes. That would be armed with better teacher really than experience, right? If I could know this same type of stuff and how it ended for someone else, or doing this, how it ended or how it started, then that would help me, move forward. But understanding too, and I want to also give the good side of motivation, the good side of what I was doing in the past was definitely a lot of action is required. It's just, that's exactly what's required about life. And I was talking to a friend the other day, and we discussed the fact that most of our businesses, if not all that we are taught, is to be solo, is to not expand, is to live this lifestyle laptop thing out in the beach, and it's really like played itself, right? People are awakening to the fact that what you're doing is you're becoming a slave to your own business, which isn't even a business. It becomes a hobby if you can't pull yourself out of it. Now here's how I experimented with that. I didn't do a video for a while. I hadn't done a podcast since May 1st, and I haven't written any articles, right? I kind of just really pulled back, and the business declined. What does that mean? That means if I pull myself out of it, there is no business. That means that the business is dependent on me being alive. That means then that I don't have a business. So when we talk about building a business, I want you to look at the entire scope of it. Right. Let's talk about, let's see, who's in business right now that one may know, Richard Branson, right? You see him on his island having fun jet skiing. The planes are still taking off. The ships are still out of the dock on cruise, space shuttles or whatever he's into now is still working. There's still a business flow that's happening daily. He could take off 3 months, learn how to ski, learn how to frickin' fly a plane, 6 months, learn how to jump out of things, take on a new hobby, whatever it is, the business is still going to be there because there are systems in place, there are processes in place, and guess what? There was a plan. All right, so I want to give you a maxim today regarding Baltar Gration. And remember, you could get this, and I think I may write an article about it, but you may get this anywhere. It's in the public domain. And the one Maxim here, let's see what number this is, because there's like 360 of them. Since I'm going to do one every episode, I want to make sure it's in Roman numerals, and this shit went up. Okay, so what number is this? This is 1,000, 5,000. Shit. How the hell do you... Let me see what this number is. Okay, it's 138. Damn. CXXXVIII, Roman numerals, 138. So this is the 138th Maxim, and it reads this way. It says, the art of letting things alone. The more so, the wilder the waves of public or of private life. There are hurricanes in human affairs, tempests of passion, when it is wise to retire to a harbor and ride at anchor. Remedies often make diseases worse. In such cases, one has to leave them to their natural course and the moral suasion of time. It takes a wise doctor to know when to not prescribe, and at times the greater skill consists in not applying remedies. Excuse me. The proper way to still the storms of the vulgar is to hold your hand and let them calm down of themselves. To give way now is to conquer by and by. A fountain gets muddy with but little stirring up, and does not get clear by our meddling with it, but by our leaving it alone. The best remedy for disturbances is to let them run their course, for so they quiet down. Now, how many of you guys are going through life and you got all these different storms? You see what I'm saying? This is from Balthazar, The Art of Letting Things Alone. Sometimes we disturb things more by adding more action to it, by trying to figure it out, in life, there are certain things that has to run its course. Okay? And this means so much to me now because this is what I've done. I felt a certain way. Okay? I was actually going down in tone. You know, I felt regret for leaving my job without a plan. I felt like, damn, am I really great at this? I felt all these things. And until I kind of let that simmer, instead of ruffling it up and kind of taking it in and understanding where my position is in life and business, it wasn't until then that things start to get clear. So like Balthazar said here when he commented on The Art of Letting Things Alone, where he says to give way now is to conquer by and by. A fountain gets muddy. This is very important. A fountain gets muddy, but with little stirring up. Just even a little moving of the fountain water, it gets muddy and does not get clear by our meddling with it, but by our leaving it alone. So find out things in your life that's going on right now, different disruptions, different distortions, despair, storms, things that are happening that you kind of like, man, please go away. And you're adding more to it by trying to force them to go away. No, isn't that right? We're adding so much to the storms in our life, but sometimes we need to just sit back, say, hey, this is a part of life. This is what life's about. It's only a game, baby. So that's what I want to bring, these type of wisdom and philosophies, big concepts, and we dissect them down. Okay? We dissect them down. So the new Stacy A Cross show, Stace, I got to be real with you guys. It took me a while to get back on this mic, right? It took me a while because I really wanted to make sure what I'm saying to you is real and powerful and not just putting out to put out, to get out. But we want more quality than quantity. So let's make a deal. I will continue putting these out. I will continue getting this new information to you. And we're going to get real busy. Yes, we're going to have interviews. Yes, I'm going to dissect certain things. Yes, we're going to talk about business, entrepreneurship, all that fun, goody stuff. But I want you to understand what the real objective is here in this show. And that objective is to break down huge concepts so they become implementable and actionable. And that's what's going to happen on the Stacy A Cross Show. I want to thank you so much for tuning in. If you don't know, now you do know who I am. But if you didn't know, I did write a book, and the book is called The Comfort Killers Book. Okay, how to change your life using tools you already have. And you could purchase that book if you go on Amazon.com, type it in Google. There's an audiobook out there as well. And I implore you to get the audiobook. It's easier. Get both. That's how I read books. Get the audiobook as well as the hard copy. But I also want to leave you with one thing, and that is simplify, okay? Exemplify, amplify. Simplify your life. There's too many communication lines coming in, and that's distorting you, okay? Exemplify. Be the example. Live by what you're preaching, what you're saying, or what you want to become. Live it day by day, small little actions. So I started a program, and it's a book. I was reading this old-ass book, and it's called Jog, Run, Race. And one of my goals back in 2016 was, hey, Stace, you got to run a marathon. And I never got around to it because I was like, man, I need to lose weight, a lot of weight. And in the book, and I got it from the Salvation Army for like $1. And it was 33 lessons for beginners at all levels. And I'm a beginner. So in the program of this book, I didn't even read the rest. I only got to the first month program where it's just like, you need to walk. There was a little test of, 0 to 10, how, let's see, it said 0 to 10, running background, smoking, resting pulse rate, weight, age, so I scored very low on this little thing. And it was like, bitch, go to page 26 and don't get off of page 26 until you finish it. So 26 is your walking plan, and straight just taking those little steps, changing the way I breathe, changing the way that my gait, like, the walking gait, straight up, shoulders back. And then that taught me now that I'm interested in learning how the body, aerobic, non-aerobic exercises, how the body, uses nutrition, breaks down nutrition, fat, carbohydrates. And then I got another book. Okay, now I'm on page 10 of that, So it's really about not being a dilettante in your life. Whatever you want to do, and that's the gist of this episode, is whatever you want to do it. Study that one thing. You have goals. Stop jumping around on goals because you hear somebody else's goals. Stop trying to be like everyone else. Be yourself. That's why I said it in the intro. You're here now, but be yourself. If you're failing at certain parts of your life, that's fine. You could get those up by taking small actions, small steps. And that's what this is about, baby, because we are here to think better, act better, and live better. I am Stacy A. Cross. And there is no E in my name. Until next time.